And as time was up, and she turned in her contract's final exam, she realized she was in the wrong class, and she had done the wrong final. Today we're talking about real-life law school horror stories. Ooh, scary! Hey Legal Eagles, D. James Stone here, teaching you how to think like a lawyer so you can crush law school. Law school can be a really scary place. It's 3 years long, and in that time, a lot can go wrong. So I thought I'd share some of the scariest things that actually happened to me in law school. So let's dig into some of these scary stories. One of the first things that happens when you get to law school is that you are surrounded by some of the smartest people you've ever met in your entire life. I don't really care which law school it is, you're going to be surrounded by A-type personalities. And some of those people are what are called gunners. Gunners are the people that always raise their hand, they always seem to have the answer, and when you first get to law school, they can seem really intimidating because people don't like to answer the professor's questions. So I had a few gunners in my class. Hopefully I was not one of those gunners, even though I liked to answer on occasion. But there was one particular gunner in my class. For the sake of anonymity, let's call him Alan. Alan was hardcore. He would answer every professor's question. He had a background in mathematics and philosophy. So he was able to talk about the philosophical underpinnings of different legal doctrines. He was able to think logically, and he always seemed to have the answer. So after your first semester, you are given a slip of paper with your grades in it. And I happened to be sitting behind Alan in class, in between classes when we were getting our grades for the first time. Basically, you open up a slip of paper and that's your report card. And I happened to see that he got all C's his first semester. I was shocked. I had never seen anything like it. One of, if not the smartest person in class got all C's. Let it be a lesson to you that just because someone is very good in class and seems to be one of the smartest people in the room, it doesn't mean they're going to get good grades in law school. And this person eventually became a friend of mine. But man, it was quite a shock to see that this person who seemed to know all the answers got straight C's his first semester. Another horror story that happened to me relates to my mock trial competition. I was on the mock trial team for all 3 years in law school. It was one of the best experiences that I had. Mock trial is where you pretend to be a lawyer, you conduct a trial, and you are scored by judges based on how well you do. It's just like mock trial in high school and college. And part of the mock trial competition is traveling to different cities. Well, one of the competitions was held in Las Vegas. In fact, it was one of the national finals for this particular mock trial competition. And after my team had done their round, and we had actually conducted a round in front of a real judge who actually tried cases in Las Vegas, the mock trial judge started to brag to my team and the other team about what happened one night when a burglar tried to break into his house. So this sitting judge regaled us for about 15 minutes about how an intruder tried to break into his house and what he did with this intruder. Well, apparently, to hear this judge tell the tale, he sat the intruder down on a chair, tied him up, put him in a small bathroom, and then for the next hour or two proceeded to threaten him with a gun to his head and told him never to come back to his house. I'm guessing that if that actually happened, that burglar never burgled that guy's house again. And this is, again, a sitting judge. I don't know if that's a true story or not. This was Vegas after all, so I probably believe that this judge is an insane person who threatened a burglar with a firearm. So that was an interesting experience. Another horror story that happened to me was that when I was sitting for the California bar exam, it was at a hotel in West LA, and not just in the regular part of the hotel, but 3 floors down in the basement. And this was a huge cavern. I mean, there must have been 500 people at least sitting for this exam. And so on day 1 of the exam, we were into the second essay portion of the bar exam. And all of a sudden, as what happens in California, everything started to shake. There was an earthquake. I later learned that it was over a 5.0 on the Richter scale. So it was enough to get the chandeliers in the basement to swing back and forth. And all of the people who were not native Californians hid under their desk and, were shaken literally and figuratively. And they lost some crucial time on the bar exam. I and the rest of the native Californians just simply couldn't be bothered and carried along writing our essays. So I actually feel that gave me an advantage on the bar exam, because I think the people from out of town were a little bit frazzled, whereas being a native Southern Californian, it was just a normal Tuesday afternoon for me. So I give partial credit to the earthquake for helping me pass the California bar exam. Another horror story that happened to me was that my computer crashed right before finals. So this was over 11 or 12 years ago. So this is back in the day when computers didn't have solid state hard drives, and Dropbox and Google Drive did not exist. So I was relying on the files that were physically residing on my computer, and my hard drive just stopped working. There were clear signs that something was going wrong. So I had the wherewithal to transfer some of these files to, I don't know, a floppy disk or a zip drive, or maybe I burned it to a CD. I'm not sure, but I was able to get my notes off of the computer probably about 45 minutes before the thing just stopped and never started up again. So I got really lucky. It still was very frazzling. I lost a lot of files just before finals in my second year of law school. But that's why I am very adamant to current and future law students to always use cloud services. Back up your files. There's a chance that you will never get them back. I mean, laptops fail, they're stolen all the time. You never know when your computer is going to crash, and you can bet that it's probably going to happen at the worst possible time. So do yourself a favor and back up your crucial files. And my final law school horror story is that after 3 years of law school, over 6 semesters, I graduated with over $160,000 in debt. Yeah. That's more than a lot of people's houses cost. That's 3 BMWs worth of debt. And that was over 10 years ago. Now, law school tuition has gone up even more. So I really feel for all the current law students that are out there who are racking up law school debt. It's crazy. It's everyone's personal horror story. It took me years to pay it off, and it really impacted my quality of life. I don't regret going to law school, but all the debt that you accumulate really does build up, and man, it's tough. So those were just a few of the horror stories that I personally experienced in law school. If you want to hear more stories about law school, check out this short playlist that I put together that includes my personal experiences with law school, and even better, strategies on how to beat law school once you get in, and how to get A's in law school. Also, please subscribe, really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.